Hey guys, and welcome. This video will be specifically a message to the developers of Life After. I'm uploading this so you guys can either agree or disagree with my suggestions and complaints. So let's get right into it. Flamethrowers. Flamethrowers are the greatest weapon in PvE. Once of the release, it beat the howitzer completely in DPS. But for PvP, this gun is not looking that great. One, in my opinion, riflemen should not be able to cripple you with a flamethrower. It's not an assault rifle, it's not a shotgun, hence the name rifleman. You should be able to cripple enemies only with shotguns, rifles, and such. Even the debuff is called crippling bullet. Flamethrower is a gun that sprays out fire and heat. I don't see any bullets in the flamethrower. 2. There's also a bug that was never fixed and yet is so annoying. After being set on fire by a flamethrower, the fire deals damage over time. Now if you get high advantage over the enemy, you will be thumped by the actual fire, which is damaging you over time, not by the guy who's shooting you, but by the dealing damage over time from the fire. Next up, Cursed Doll. Cursed Doll shields is fine being in the game, but at the current state of the game, not really. 1. There's no balance. Too many people use this debuff late game. Almost 90% people. 2. The price you have to pay to use this is too cheap. Shields are almost 100k to 200k gold bars in price, not even. You can get a cheapest shield, lowest tier with Cursed Doll just to die on purpose and later come back with full gear to kill the player. That's what Cursed Doll kamikazes do. 3. Currently the worst debuff in the game is Cursed Doll. The punishment for killing a player is too high of a punishment. You shouldn't be punished for killing a player at all. You should be rewarded. After killing a player, we have to worry about this debuff more than killing a player. As we know, we start missing almost all of our shots when the debuff is activated. Currently, if you kill a player who's wearing a Cursed Doll shield, you will get that debuff every single time you kill him. There's 3 ways how we can fix this. A. Adding a cooldown or penalty for killing the Cursed Doll owner. The cooldown starts for 10 minutes. Meaning if you keep killing the player over and over, you will not get the Cursed Doll debuff until 10 minutes timer passes. This would apply only to the player that kills you. Once another player kills you, the timer starts locally for that each player specifically. B. Don't make it miss shots, instead make you deal less damage to the players, and making it 5-minute cooldown. C. Replace it with a buff called Cold-Blooded and remove Cursed Doll completely from the game. Let me explain the C answer. This will change PvP entirely. No longer Cursed Doll, but now we have a shield buff Cold-Blooded. This buff makes your player untrackable by drones, hence the buff Cold-Blooded. The drones simply cannot track you nor shoot you. This could be only for support drones, which are medical drones, bag drones, shield drones, and etc. Drones that are not combat related. Drones such as Combat Drone, Water Tiger Drone, Snake Drone, they could still track you and shoot. I would really love if it was removed from the game, to be honest. Pretty sure everyone playing this game would do, because it's just too overused and overpowered. The game says that Cursed Doll misses 30% of your shots, but you actually can hit all 7 shots of your shotgun. Only 2 of your 7 shots will hit, which is roughly 70%, and the rest becomes NA. The sad part is that Cursed Doll has its own invisible stats. What I mean by that is you cannot counter the NA shots no matter how much precision you have in your stats or your weapon. It can be hundreds or thousands, you will still miss your shots by a percentage because of the random number generated chance by the Cursed Doll. The only good beneficial use it has is against PvE bosses that are harder or challenging to kill. Next up, sedatives. They are what changed PvP and make the game more diverse, but we can make it even better. Sedatives have a huge impact in PvE and mostly PvP. 1. Any player right now can throw sedatives. They're spammed everywhere in PvP. 2. Sedatives cause loads of lags and server load. People cannot fight in these sedatives. Once you're in it, you're basically worrying how to leave this sedative while walking like a turtle, can't roll out, can't swap weapons because of the lag. Plus, if you're already a lagging person, that's even less chances of survival. 3. As mentioned, you can't roll out of the sedatives because the game thinks you're moving too fast. People been asking and complaining, let us roll out of the sedatives without being teleported back. The reason why that is still not fixed, and it won't be, because the game is coded like that. Once you enter a sedative, your movement speed becomes minus 50%, and when you roll out, you're basically increasing your character's velocity. That being said, the server knows you're in a sedative, but you're actually walking faster than you're supposed to, so the server rolls you back. And I'm pretty sure The developers aren't going to rewrite the code just to let you roll out from a sedative. 4. Sedatives last for too long on the ground. When people spam sedatives, in return we are punished by a slow movement. That's when people get easy shots on you, and PP isn't supposed to be easy. Nor sedatives should be this overpowered. 5. The cost of making sedatives. It is such a cheap utility that costs almost nothing to slow down a player. It is also very easy to use. Simply throw it down on a spot and the player most likely will not go through that route where the sedative is thrown. 6. Virologist's skill glue board is completely unbalanced skill. If maxed, you get another 5 seconds of wasted time being slowed down and worrying about how to survive while you're this low. Survivability is almost 0.0001% chance. This is where I suggest adding a new skill replacing the glue board, which I will get into later. Here's my fix for this. A. Only virologists have access to sedatives. Non-virologist certs cannot throw down sedatives in PvP. If you have a virologist in your team during a PvE rebuild battle, you gain access to throwing down a sedative to help you out against zombies and creatures. B. Same as A, but with an addition. When sedatives are thrown down, they die off over time, meaning their radius decreases every second. Viro skill glue board replaced with new overpower skill. C. Everyone can throw sedatives, but the sedative's radius die off over time. Viro skill glue board replaced with new overpower skill. D. Everyone can throw sedatives, but the sedative's radius dies off over time, and a normal player sedative lasts only 10 seconds on the ground, while a virus sedative lasts for 20 seconds. With skill maxed, of course. Viro skill glue board is also replaced with new overpower skill. I would choose B or D. This means only virus certs will be eligible to use sedatives, and non-virus certs running area operations with virus certs will be eligible to throw down sedatives. This will drastically improve the game's performance and make people use the sedatives properly instead of just foolishly throwing it randomly without any care. Virologist sedative buffs are extremely broken at the current state of the game. They have buffs such as once player enters their sedative and leaves it, you're still slowed down for 5 more seconds? That is extremely absurd. You step in a sedative and you're worrying about lag and a way to survive while getting out of the sedative. By the time you get out, you're dead. You get completely no chance of survival at all. That is where the skill is replaced by a new one, overpower. That means your sedative radius dies slower, meaning the range keeps decreasing slower and slower the more you have it upgraded. Virus sedatives already last forever, so it would be beneficial to make them last 10 seconds for normal players and virus certs 20 seconds maximum. Next up, drones. I loved drones when they were released. Even the max damage from drones was 28, 28, 28 from combat drone in Anti-City, and by this time I still remember it. But once they introduced the hangar update, this is where it went downhill. Drones are now possible up to 70, 70, 70 damage. Yeah. 1. Too much damage. They're too good for Nancy City. Way too good. Nancy City is the only game mode that does not consume your durability and is the only fun game mode that you can improve yourself in, practice your aim, make your aim better. And drones is what makes the game mode stale. 2. Survivability. In Nancy City, you cannot run away. You cannot parkour around, throw off the enemy's aim, because they have their drones released, beaming you, and you're just getting 150 damage per second from 3-player drones, and these players are not even hitting you. You have like 3 seconds of survivability, you cannot make any plays, you cannot make any clutches. Sure, we have medical drones that heal you once you get attacked while in combat, but it isn't enough for 3 players shooting at you while their 3 other drones are lasering you. 3. Shooting back. You shoot an enemy, the enemy doesn't shoot you back, but his drone starts to hit 3 shots every 0.5 seconds, and you're stuck with a drone shooting you 24/7 until you die. If you go behind a wall, the drone follows you. You show up again, the drone is shooting you again until you bleed and die. 4. Impossible to kill the drone. You can't even shoot the drone out with a shotgun, neither assault rifle from close range. You literally have to be far away with an assault rifle to kill it, and by that time you kill it, you're probably going to be dead. They even made the drones more impossible to kill because of the moving and strafing update for the drones. Not going to lie, but the mechanics of drones pathfinding is just almost impossible to predict. This is how drones currently follow the player. And this is how it normally should follow the player with good parts. With worse parts, it should be even slower, of course. Drones aren't supposed to fly around this fast. You get the idea. Here's my fix for this. A. lowered the damage of drones in Nancy City. Sports mode in Nancy City makes the drones do like 3 damage or 10 damage, while normal Nancy City does like 50 damage. Drones should lose vision and aggro of you once you go behind a wall. Drones should not attack an enemy back until the owner of the drone hits a shot on the enemy. Make drones prioritize other players' drones first rather than the enemy player. Once the drone dies, the drone can continue to kill the enemy player. B. Make only combat drones be able to shoot 3 bullets per second. The other drones will be support drones and will not be able to shoot any players. Attack power other than combat drones will have their own meanings for each drone. And now let me explain the B answer. Only combat drones are able to shoot 3 bullets per second. The Tiger drone too, because it's inbuilt offense and defense system. I don't know what I'm talking about. Other drones such as medical, shield drone, freeze bomb drone, they will have their own purpose since they will not be able to attack any player. They are support drones, and the attack power that you have on these drones will be replaced to their own ability strength. That being said, if you have 100 attack power, that 100 converts into 10%. And that means if your medical drone heals you for 200 health points, but you have 150 attack power on your medical drone, you will get healed for 15% more because the 150 attack power converts to 15%. So you would get 230 health points. Same applies to the shield drone. For the freeze bomb drone, this would be balanced and players will utilize drones more than sedatives. Slowing your movement is a deadly punishment, and sedatives is currently the cheapest option. But that should not be the case. Instead, drones is what you should use to really want to kill a player. Having 200 attack power on the freezing drone, you would get a 20% movement reduction called bomb. So if it slows you down already for 40%, you would get slowed down for 20% more. A total of 60% slow. But the freezing bomb should have a reduced timer because it lasts for way too long at the current state of the game. Not to mention sedatives, crippling bullets, freeze bomb, warrior knocks, there's too much. None of it is balanced. That is why I suggested the sedatives radius dying off over time idea. Unbalanced drones is what impacts the fun of PvP. I like the idea of drones, don't get me wrong, but try battling against 5 players with drones, not even 5. 2 players is enough to make it impossible to survive, and then compare it with players, but without drones. The difference is huge. You can't even 1v1 a warrior with a hostile following drone. If you hit the warrior once, his drone is going to murder you and you won't be able to run away because the drone's constantly hitting you. And if you try to shoot back, the warrior is gonna knock you. You can't hide because the warrior will knock you and you'll die regardless. So it's a lose-lose situation. This is why the idea of implementing such feature for these drones would be game-changing. They have their own pros and cons. Which one you should utilize in combat depends on you. Also, my idea of adding cold-blooded on shields is basically the drones would ignore you and wouldn't be able to shoot at you. They would still be able to cast abilities though. Now that we've been talking about drones, let's talk about Nancy City too. After the match ends, add a damage indicator for your personal DPS and for drone DPS, meaning the damage will not be calculated for your damage total. Instead, it's separated. Do the same for Arena 2. If you can do that for rebuilds and Defi, why not do that for Nancy City? Next up, fusing mods with scrap. It was crucial to add scrap in the game, but the usage of it is almost non-existent. We are forced to use full amount of scrap for a single fuse. Instead, let us use an amount of scrap we want. To increase the percentage for fusing, a slider would be a good example. So if we want to try and fuse the modification with 90%, then we'll be able to add as much scrap as we want.